Hey guys, what's going on? Shah here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the exact topic that I didn't want to talk about, but it's driving me nuts not being able to put my feedback into something and that not being able to theory craft on another platform with people that enjoy playing the least played tank on live servers. So that's right, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be taking a look at Covenants and specifically the Knight Fae. My plan is to make 4 separate videos for each of the Covenants, talking them down, breaking them down, what's good and what's bad about them, because there is a lot to talk about. So today in this video, like I just mentioned, we're going to talk about what's good, what's bad, and why you may put your time elsewhere into a different covenant depending on the type of content you plan on doing. So I'm going to do my best to cover everything that I have experienced so far and the content that I have done. So I've done dungeons, I've hit training dummies, and I've done just questing in general. I haven't been able to test raid yet due to my work schedule. A lot of the raid testing is during when I'm at work, so I can't really do that. But with that being said, if I did miss anything, or if you disagree with something that I've said, you want me to reconsider a comment, or if you want me to test something out, I'd be more than happy to have that kind of discourse below. So yeah, let's dive in. I'm first going to talk about the Covenant-wide ability that every class will have access to upon choosing the Covenant. So if you're not familiar, every Covenant has basically a Covenant-wide ability that every class and specialization has access to. So this would be the same for a Guardian Druid, a Frost Mage, a Holy Paladin. All of these classes will have access to this ability. And for the Knight Fae, this ability is Soul Shape. So this thing that I'm doing right now, running around in this little fox form, this is called Soul Shape. So this is on a 1.5 minutes cooldown, so can only be used every about 90 seconds. It lasts for 12 seconds or indefinitely if you're in a rested area like I am right now. I am in the heart of the forest, which is kind of like the main hub for Knight Fae. So upon using this ability, it's going to teleport you 15 yards forward, which is pretty much the same range as a blink. So here I am in kind of just my human form, Night Elf form. I use it, I'll teleport forward about 15 yards, and then every 4 seconds or so, you're able to teleport again, another 15 yards forward, the way you're facing. So this ability pretty much acts as a slight mobility. I think for Druid, it's relatively pointless. But before I get to what's bad about it, the good thing is it has some interaction with some of your soulbind trees. I'm not going to be covering soulbinds in this video because that's a lot of information. But some of the soulbind options you have for this ability can have you generate maximum health during the duration you're in this form. It can give your allies increased bonus speeds, things of that nature. So it has some impactful things outside of combat and maybe in combat. But that's just the thing is, since you're tanking and since you're, taking a key or a raid, you're not going to be able to be in this form all the time. Obviously, it only lasts for 12 seconds, but also like this does take you out of bear form. So if I'm in bear form tanking and I use this ability, I could get thwacked down and killed. So you obviously don't want to do that. I can see this having some practicality in maybe a raid setting or doing, old farming or questing, stuff like that, but I can't imagine it being so great. We already have dash, which is a movement ability cooldown. We also have Stampeding Roar, which is also mobility. We have things like Skull Bash. We have Wild Charge. We have ways of getting around, so this doesn't really benefit our toolkit at all, especially while tanking. And that's kind of the biggest gripe that I have with it. Again, might be great for raid and other content, but for Mythic Plus specifically, not the greatest choice. So not too much to talk about with this one. Since we have quickly come to the conclusion that Soul Shape isn't necessarily something to drool over, let's hope our class-specific Covenant ability is worthwhile. I'm going to start with what I think can be useful with this ability, and then I'll follow it up with my issues with this ability. So, Convoke of Spirits, also I'm going to refer to in this video as CTS, is a 2-minute cooldown with a 4-second channel tied to it. So once you cast it, you're going to be channeling for 4 seconds. Any action will interrupt this. More on that later. You call upon an eruption of energy, channeling a rapid flurry of 16 Druid spells and abilities over 4 seconds. While in bear form, you're going to cast Mangle, Iron Fur, Moonfire, Wrath, Regrowth, Rejuvenation, Rake, and Thrash on appropriate targets. This ability will favor your current form. So, for example, if you're in your Moonkin form, even if you're a Guardian Druid, this ability list will change slightly and drops Mangle and Iron Fur, and it will pick up Star Surge and Starfall. This ability can be slightly controlled with distance from your target. For example, if you're not within melee range, it won't cast Rake or Thrash, giving you the higher chance to send out a few extra Star Surges. This can result in fairly high bit of burst damage, which can feel really good in certain situations. While testing this, I found it has a really cool synergy with both the Balance Affinity and Heart of the Wild talent. Having a 30% damage increase with being able to send out 16 semi-random Druid abilities was super, super awesome. On average, it would send out between like 4 and 6 Star Surges while I was sitting in range, so not in melee, of the mob. While this is fun to mess with, it's not very practical outside of the raiding environments. I know this was a little off topic, but because it didn't revolve around taking, but I wanted to cover it because it's something that you're going to be able to practically use in different situations. When it comes to Mythic Plus, not so much. So coming back to the tank side of things, CTS can have some synergy with some tanking talents as well. This has a theoretical synergy with Rend and Tear along with Earth Warden with building up high stacks of both of those talent choices, actually within like a short window. So along with this, there are 2 legendary powers that also seem to have a good synergy with CTS as well. This being your Lufa Infused Embrace and Ursoc's Lingering Spirit. So your Lufa causes Thrash to deal 20% increased damage, have a 30% increased radius, and can stack 1 additional time. I think this legendary might be powerful because of the flat damage increase, while it also has an increased range on things. And because of this, you can achieve 1 extra stack of Thrash, so it has that synergy with Rend and Tear. And it makes it now an 8% damage reduction over a 6% damage reduction. So during like your incarnation windows, plus using this ability, like you might be able to get to 4 stacks very, very quickly, having a bigger base damage reduction. So then Ursoc's Lingering Spirit, which is a different legendary, is a little bit more simplistic. While you're in bear form, your Thrash has a 15% chance to trigger an additional Thrash. So just additional uses of Thrash. This will cause you to put out a little bit more burst damage with CTS on an RNG. So it's RNG on top of RNG. And you're also going to get increased stacks of Rend and Tear while using CTS. This will cause you to have additional uptime on your Earth Warden stacks, on top of also having, obviously, Rend and Tear stacks, being able to apply them faster in that 15% margin. So this is really going to be good when you're facing 3 or less targets, which is just additional damage absorption based off of the auto attacks that are hitting you, of course. So overall, I think that CTS can have both defensive and offensive synergies with several different talents and legendaries. But here's my issue. The damage that can be applied from this ability is completely randomized, and I've had instances where CTS decided to cast 6 Moonfires, 4 Wraths, which is already like 66% of the abilities that I'm casting. Another 2 Mangles, a Rejuvenation, 2 Rakes, and a single Thrash. I've also had instances where it casted 4 Thrashes in a row, and 2 of them being procced with Ursoc's Lingering Spirit. So the amount of damage you can put out is going to differ severely. And of course, with all of this being during a channel, you know, the key component being channeled means you can't use any other abilities, and you have to hope for RNG to apply Iron Fur, because you're not going to be able to use Iron Fur during this 4-second channel without canceling it. And if you obviously do use it, you have to cancel the effect, which is not good for obvious reasons. So if a DPS rips aggro from you, there's very little anything you could do about it besides canceling the channel to hopefully taunt the target, you know, and mess around with some, you know, spend rage on a maul to try to get aggro back. So it sucks having to cancel kind of the key highlight feature of this expansion with this Covenant in those kind of situations. So it doesn't happen all the time that the DPS is going to rip aggro in keys, but if it does happen, or you're going to need high amount of stacks quickly and you decide to use Convoke the Spirits and then a DPS like rips aggro, like you're just kind of screwed. So sadly, Convoke the Spirits is not a dependable way to, 1, maintain aggro, or 2, provide a sturdy form of mitigation that benefits the Druid toolkit. And this all comes down to it being channeled but not being able to use Rage, as well as having to cancel it sometimes and having a huge RNG spectrum that you're going to either do a lot of damage or a little bit of damage with a lot of healing or a little bit of healing or a lot of mitigation or little mitigation. And because of all of those different factors coming into play every time you put your faith into this 2-minute cooldown, you might end up fucking your group over. So why would you choose Knight Fae? I obviously pointed out some good things about it. I've pointed out some bad things about it in my personal opinion on the Covenant, but why would you choose this? So if you're a primary raider, if raiding is the thing you play this game to do, and you spend a lot of your time, you know, doing your casual Mythic Plus, doing your World Quest, doing your dailies, whatever it may be, this is going to be a good choice for you. It has several synergies with different playstyles. It has good synergy with different legendaries. There's another legendary that I didn't mention, which is called Oath of the Elder Druid, that gives you Heart of the Wild every minute for 10 seconds. And this could be incredibly powerful for druids who want to really min-max and do some balance or feral weaving during boss encounters, during raid. Being able to pump out a Heart of the Wild with a Convoke the Spirits to do just an insane amount of like Star Surges and shit while in Boomkin form And Soul Shape is going to give you a fair bit of mobility, health regeneration, and bonus movement speed to party members with your proper Soulbind trees and conduits. So I think if you want to raid, this is going to be a good covenant for you, especially because if you're doing this, you're going to allow to min-max your Boomkin spec as well, because as of right now, Boomkin is looking like they want this covenant, and it's going to just turn into a well-rounded powerhouse. If you plan on doing any real content, what I mean by this, if you plan on doing Mythic Plus, I'm afraid as of right now that this will not be the greatest choice, since there are 3 other covenants that we still are going to take a look at. Some are good, some are bad. Again, I'm going to point those out in future videos. So if you're not just going to base the decision of your covenant on the mere power aspect of alone, there's other things that you have to take into account. You have to take into account the aesthetic of the zone, the different transmogs, where your friends are playing, and being able to do the most amount of forms of content at a reasonable difficulty level. When it comes to Mythic Plus, though, I just think it's too unpredictable to be meta in its current state. Other covenants will offer more sustainable damage and healing throughput, and as well as damage mitigation. So we will be taking a look at those covenants very soon, hopefully in some new future videos. And that's it. That's my complete opinion on the Knight Fae covenant abilities. Obviously, I didn't get into Soulbinds at all, and that's a completely different video or story. Kind of a headache still. I also hinted on some Shadowland legendaries. If you are curious on what a lot of them are, I did make a video a couple weeks ago. You'll find it at the end of this video. There'll be something that pops up in that upper corner. You'll want to click on that and check it out, or you can always visit my channel, which should be right above my head here. So if you are curious on any of that, check them out. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please hit that like button if you enjoy this kind of content, so I know to keep making videos like this. I do really want to hear your guys' opinion about this covenant choice as like an option. So drop those in the comment section below. Like I said, if I missed anything, also let me know, because oftentimes I am an idiot and I do miss things. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you're staying healthy. I hope to have some talk below. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next one. Take care.